So with every new camera rollout or campaign that has come out in the last, I don't know, few years, you're always going to have this, pool of just opinions essentially that you have to kind of like, discern through. Now, this is not a video that is going to be addressing that, but I just like to categorize them whenever a new camera, rolls out essentially. Like you have the number one, the overly optimistic high praise of the camera. And then you have the number two, which is the heavily critical of the camera, very pessimistic tone within everything. Lastly, you have the third option, which is the neutral zone, to where you have the, you're getting both sides essentially, to where you're assessing the camera and looking at everything and finding out, determining if it fits, the need that they're looking for. For the most part, though, I think individuals try to be as, level-headed with it. I would like to think that, but obviously, that's not the real world at times, but I digress. Now, the camera that we're talking about today is the Canon C50. This camera was rolled out probably roughly around a couple weeks ago. And essentially it was, hitting the market like everybody's raving about it or giving their opinion about it essentially within everything. And I don't know, the thing that kind of intrigued me, not for the aspect of that has been rumored to be the FX3 Killer, or at least that's what it's being titled as. I do think that Canon tried to position the camera like the FX3. You can see some of the similarities there, but overall, even though you have similarities there, you want to exceed the competition's features and the things that they offer within the camera. I think for me, what really intrigued me with the Canon C50 is just really fits in line with what I shoot, which is essentially wildlife. And yeah, I do branch out into other areas, but my main subject that I talk about is going to be wildlife. I think for me, what I want to know about the Canon C50 is how it performs essentially within the wildlife space. How does it enhance the experience from what I currently have as of right now? And that's what I'm intrigued about most. Now, for me, I'm going to start with a compelling thing that really piqued my interest initially about this camera, which is the autofocus. Now, according to Canon, they have added a new feature to enhance the autofocus experience in the Canon C50, which is the left and right eye priority for people and animals, which is nice. Now, the more intriguing aspect about this autofocus that really has me excited is the fact is that they have included the category of birds within the animal feature, essentially. And I don't know about you, but that really has me stoked. I think that I've used the Canon C70. I believe it did have animals in it, if I'm not mistaken. And I did find it at times that it couldn't track as quickly as I would like it to when I am trying to film like, ospreys or red-shouldered hawks or sandhill cranes. Sandhill cranes are a little bit different. They're a little bit slower. They're not moving as quick at times. So they're a little different. But I will say is that was a little bit of a challenge, but it wasn't the end of the world. Now, I'm pretty sure that there are other camera brands that can do this. I think one that comes to mind is the Fujifilm line. The Fujifilm X-H2S can track birds on it as far as with their autofocus experience. However, though, there's been some hit or miss with their autofocus features over the past couple of years. I think they fixed it. I'm not too sure because I haven't used my Fujifilm X-H2S in a while now, but more to come with that. I think that I will start, utilizing that camera more to see, if there's any type of comparison with, your Canon C50 once I get my hands on that. Now, currently with the R6 Mark II, with its, autofocus features on it, it is more consistent than inconsistent. And again, I'm still probably like, 3 months into using this camera, and essentially it's been really a joy to have. It's definitely been a step up from what I was using before, which was the Canon EOS R. That autofocus experience, dated, but still can do the job. It just helps you to improve on, your skill sets and techniques. And I think for me with the Canon C50 autofocus experience, I'm a realist. I know that it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time, but if I can get within that 70 to 90% hit rate as far as its consistency, I think that's a win at the end of the day. Now, another aspect of the Canon C50 that was intriguing to me is its design. I believe that it's designed to be a little bit more, lighter and compact, which you can tell based upon the visualizations of it from other YouTube videos. And that's even with the Canon C50 having this external audio mount, connected to it as well. So that's definitely small and compact, if that's the case. Again, I don't know for sure. I've utilized the Canon R5C. It is compact. It is, a little bit beefy, I would say, but For the most part though, it is compact, it is light when I compare it to some of the other cameras that I've used. Now currently, majority of my audio setups with all my cameras consist of a Rode microphone that has that mic jack to it. And essentially that's okay, it does the job and everything, but having an opportunity to enhance the sound experience is something that I'm even intrigued about with this particular camera too. Now the dark horse feature that I would say that surprised me about this camera is the fact that it can shoot up to 32 megapixels. Like that definitely intrigued me. And on top of that too, it can shoot, I believe it said 40 frames per second. And I'm just like, you know, that's great, especially whenever I think about just the setup for wildlife and what it takes within everything and how minimalist it can provide just that overall carrying experience. Because I do hike to certain areas at times, and I don't like bringing, you know, multiple cameras with me. And if I can condense that down to just one camera, I think that's pretty cool. Now, to be honest with you, I probably will still, you know, carry a camera for the behind the scene footage and whatnot. But for the most part though, having the option to be able to choose between the photo and video mode within a powerful camera like this is like definitely good. I know I'm being underwhelming with my adjectives here, but it is great. Actually, it is superb, I would say. Granted, I know that there's no such thing as a perfect camera. If there was, then that company would take up all the market share essentially, and it really would be no competition. More capitalism, I guess. Now, with all the good things I have spoken about this camera, I would be remiss if I didn't hold myself accountable in regards to providing a neutral perspective as far as like what has me kind of questioning things and what really is something that I wish it did have, essentially. So one of the things I did see that stuck out to me that I was like, that kind of sucks, is the fact that this camera does not have an EVF. Like for me, when I'm shooting wildlife, I think that EVF just adds another element to the overall camera experience and just really makes you feel connected to the scene itself. And not having that option, I think for me it's not a deal breaker, but I was like, I wish they had that option so that, you know, kind of like the Canon R5C has that option. Like I wish that it just had that one element about it that they kept. But, you know, can't have a perfect camera, obviously. Now I do understand, like putting the external microphone at the top of the camera in place of the EVF, you know, I get it. You're trying to determine as far as like what type of experience you want to provide overall within everything. But it does let you know that there are other options out there. If you want the EVF, there's other cameras within their cinema line that can give you that experience essentially. And another thing that I wish this camera would have, and I know that I'm being nitpicky here. I know that I'm being nitpicky, but I wish that it was a 2 CF Express card slot instead of a 1 CF Express card slot camera. But I get it though, from a user experience, is that you want to be able to provide the option. And I think that that's key whenever you're looking at any type of, you know, rollout of any type of consumer experience. You're going to try to make an experience that's going to be inclusive to both users at the end of the day. Again, I am not loyal to any brand per se. I am not an ambassador for any kind of brand. I am here as a consumer, just utilizing a camera that I feel is interesting, needless to say. But as always, continue to appreciate the process. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces. We are out. All right, cool. Cool.